Alright, so yeah, good morning. So yesterday I had to go to court on that theft charge over that bike, lawnmower, whatever you want to call it. We all know that it's just corporate corruption. That's all that shit is. I done gave you footage of how hard I work. If that's not enough evidence that I'm guilty, not guilty of doing that. I mean, if that's not enough evidence, when you see I've gave you a format of how my business operate already. Now, believe it or not, I went to court already 3 times on this matter. I went the first initial time on the 1st of August, thinking that it was going to get dismissed. Because I know I didn't do that ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? But I go in there and I get a lawyer, all that old shit, you know, just to generate jobs for them. That's all it's about. Don't even misunderstand what's going on, because the idea that so much rhetoric is going on around the planet with war, men out on the battlefield killing each other, civilians getting murdered, planes flying around dropping chemical exhaust out of the back, falling to the earth, poisoning the water, killing the people, living in the alley when you have large places of dwelling where people could be living in those places, and instead of people living in those places are boarded up with these banks having all the financial equity on these buildings. They are constantly creating circumstances for human decadence and the failure for the people of this planet. Now, somewhere you're going to have to start looking at the concept that maybe there is an invasion force on this planet that is manipulating the natural inhabitants, or if you will, the aborigines or the indigenous life form on this planet. It seems to me like there's someone going on this planet that is mining it for whatever type of aggregate, mineral, you name it, that they are getting it at the expense of the people on the earth. The saturation of their being here is based on the fact of human having been dichotomized from each other because of differences such as classes, sexual, gender. I'm not even going to call it races, because we're only one species. We're a human species, but they have dichotomized us and made us accept an idea of being people of races. When the word races come into play on your natural mentality, it make you have the concept of you competing with someone. So they give you Coca-Cola, Pepsi, they give you Burger King, McDonald's, they give you all the things of natural polarity that is positive and negative but complementary of each other. They totally flip that on you and make you see the world as a competitive place where they tell you only the strong survive. So they give you that animalistic instinct to make sure that everything dies without anyone taking a second to think about all the degradation they themselves are causing. You just look around at the planet and see all these building structures sitting around that's no use to anyone, because the banks have boarded them up and left them shut purposely so they could create a circumstance amongst the people that will surely guarantee imminent death to all the people that's going to be infected by the disease, by the harsh weather conditions, by the hatred of each other, the self-hatred and the attacks that human man is going to be coerced into committing against each other by them dichotomizing everything and raising one group of have it all and putting them in opposition to the groups of have nothing. So now when you get a person like me that could talk to you with this type of intelligence that you know is actually racing through my blood system, why am I in a court system where you have a judge, 2 prosecuting attorneys, male and female, plus a private citizen and a corrupt police officer, all go through the trouble even employing a fire truck to commit theft of my property? They performed an illegal search and seizure, all this crazy shit, and then now I have to go. Listen to what I'm saying. They came to my house one day after this crazy ass, okay, I wrote a report. Hold on, I'm just going to read the report to you. Hold on. All right, just hold on. I'm getting at you. Okay, I'm just backing up so I could move away from my apartment. Be considerate to my neighbors because I just wanted my truck to warm up. It's about 8 o'clock, so actually I could have just stayed there and it would have been no problem because it's past 7 o'clock, but there's no reason for me to be unnecessarily bothersome, you know, and an adversity is not what I want to be at all at any time. So this is the reason why I wrote this letter of grievance to the Vancouver Police Department. Okay, let me get my little phone back in order here. Everything looking good. That's just my gear down there. I'll be going to work in a minute. All right. So everyone can know, I know there's a lot of attitude with people. They all upset with me about the stuff I'm saying and putting up on YouTube. Well, this is what you should do. Go to the YouTube pages where you see the women dropping it like it's hot and the ones that's always perpetuating the decadence that you see, and then that'll give you an understanding of why I have to come out here and do what I'm doing, because there's too many other people on the planet that is not doing this, and our planet is fucked up behind that. So somebody's going to have to do it, and I'm going to do it. Listen to the letter I wrote. It said this letter is intended to transfer information about a crime committed by the personification attached to the above. Policeman ID number, I'm not going to give you that, all right? Okay. It say my full name is on July the 7th, 2012. The officer came to my house, addressed above, at somewhere between 07:30 and 8:15. He knocked so hard on the door, it was very aggressive, unneeded. I knew right away it had to be a police officer, and probably male. Okay. I opened the door and I confirmed my assumption as soon as I saw the policeman uniform. I didn't say anything. I just listened and observed. The officer asked me a question in regards to my being accused of stealing someone's lawnmower. I told him people falsely accuse me of theft all the time. I also told him I had been predisposed to the whole accusation through a phone call I received earlier in time from the accuser. He asked me how did the accuser get my phone number. I told him that I had purchased a bicycle and a computer from Kyla and Kim, two people that live at the alleged theft location. I told him that Kim was the lady that sold me the bike and that Kyla was her son by marriage to her daughter. I asked him who made the accusation against me, and his reply was, at this time I am following up information he received from a neighbor that claimed he had sold my truck in the vicinity the day of the theft. I asked him the day or date of this alleged crime, and he said July the 4th. I told him that Kim called me on a previous day to July the 4th and that his report was full of rhetoric and inconsistencies, that he should make a sound evaluation of the credibility of the people and facts. The facts are that on July the 4th, I was working in my shop all day, and the shop supervisor knows this and could vouch for me. I also told him that if no one had officially filed a legal theft document of accusation, that he should and was acting on his own ego, and that I'm sure this is not an abiding method of police investigation. I told him that I suspected that he was on a personal witch hunt, and that I wish he would find someone else to harass. He said to me, I know you stole those lawnmowers. Give them back now or I am going to have your truck confiscated for hauling stolen property. I told him that I recycle 5 tons of scrap iron damn near every 10 days. I don't have to steal anything. The citizens of this city gladly give me all the unwanted metals I have. A steady job. Odd yes, but legal. I am not a crackhead. I am 52 years of age. I am not climbing fences, stealing anything. I reminded him that Kim had offered me a lawnmower and a front propel rototiller and about 300 pounds of other miscellaneous metal that I refused because she could not find the key to the gate. I also told him, here is my flyer. Call me. I told her, here is my flyer. You can find the key and I will come back to gladly remove all that stuff. No problem at all. Thank you. And I left. I told him the computer was garbage. It didn't even work. And the bike was not, the bike has been parked since the purchase date. I explained to him that Kim and Kyler, her son, actually received a blessing from me that day because I got those mentioned items given to me all the time. Kim told me she was broke and not doing well and that her daughter needed medicine for her autism. I was looking and talking with her daughter and I believed her story. I bought $60 worth of junk that people normally give me. I was just trying to give something back to the community that gives and sustains me. And that neighbor that's telling you he saw me in the neighborhood is right, because I live right up the street from Kim's house on 4th Plain. I always cruise the alleys looking for junk. I am a public service, not a menace. I told him there is a big difference between being observed and being observed committing a crime. I told him that he should be questioning me only if someone saw me actually take something. The officer told me that the neighbor did tell him that I took something and put it on my truck. I told him that all of this stuff is all based on all them people and him and all the social hatred trying to victimize me or anyone they could find. He should not be in that uniform. What responsible neighbor will watch a crime be committed and not report it while the crime is happening? I asked the officer. I said, I asked him if he thought there was something bizarre or unusual about the witness actions under the circumstances, and he said no. So he wanted to see the bike. I took him where we have a community bike lock where 3 different families were locking their children's bike. Will and Dave took responsibility of the bike and secured it for me using the bike chain, and I told that officer that the chain was secured by my neighbors. I told him that it was my neighbor's children's bike chain and that my neighbor took responsibility of that bike from me on the day that I purchased it and locked it on there. At that time, the neighbor that I'm talking about, his wife came out on the balcony and was looking over at this officer, and she suggested to him that if he wanted, she could come down there and unlock the chain because she had a key to it. I didn't even know that. I didn't find that out until then. But he told her no, it was none of her matter. It was a police matter and that he had everything under control. Then I told him, I said, well, you should go talk to your witness because this bike has been here 3 weeks and you saying that I stole this on the 4th of July. There is no way that could have happened. I said, you need to wake up, please, sir, and go find somebody else to do your little witch hunt on. And he started yelling at me, you took those lawnmowers. You should just give them back to me. I said, why are you down here doing that to me in front of all my neighbors? The neighbors done come out on their porch and everything, and everybody looking at me now like I'm a damn thief. And he's making all this big scene. Well, I kind of got off the letter and started remembering from my mind. Sorry about that. I shouldn't have did that. But I got lost. And because my emotions took over. But anyway, it's horrible. The man stood over there and he deliberately went over there with the information I had gave him about buying that bike from that lady and her son, and he went over there, and it goes from, after he went and talked to them, it went from me buying a bike and him over here investigating a lawnmower theft to him over here investigating a lawnmower and a bike theft. Now the story changed that there was a bike that was stolen too with the lawnmowers, okay? All right, so now this is where the discrepancies come in because my neighbors told them that that didn't add up because he was saying that the theft had happened within the last week. And all my neighbors all knew that when I pulled in the parking lot, like any other day, they all wanted to see what I had on the truck. And they came over there and one person wanted dibs on the bike. And I was like, no, this is not one of those somebody gave me. I actually brought this one because there's parts on it that I'm going to use and all that stuff, you know. And he had police officer left. You know, and he left. I guess he went back over there to talk to those people like I had told him would be a good idea because I wanted him to think about what neighbor will watch me do a crime, especially when I live in a city where I'm always accused of doing shit all the time, constantly. And so, you know what I'm saying? He, I guess thought that didn't make any damn sense because the next thing I know, he comes back with the guy that he should be over there, the neighbor who had told him that I stole something before the people who claimed something was stolen from them had even filed any complaint at all. Now, if this is not malicious activity, and then behind all this shit, I end up with a court case that's ongoing right now. This fool leave and he comes back with the guy Kyler that